Mr. President and members of the Senate, your Judiciary Committee has gone back and forth on its amendments of House Bill 1050. Here is where we landed. In the Senate Judiciary Committee, this bill was amended to include penalties for possession and ingestion of marijuana. In Section 1, there are 4 changes. Change the penalty B misdemeanor to an infraction. Individual is convicted of an infraction at least twice. The third offense will be seen as a Class B misdemeanor. Subsection 1, it removes the ingestion, inhaling, injecting, or otherwise taking into the body marijuana. It then adds a subsection 2, which says a person under the age of 21 who intentionally ingests, inhales, injects, or otherwise takes into the body a controlled substance that is marijuana, unless it is medical marijuana, is guilty of a Class B misdemeanor. There are 3 levels of penalties. 1, if possessing a half ounce, the penalty is an infraction. If more than half an ounce and less than 50 grams, the penalty is a Class B misdemeanor. If it's more than 500 grams, it is a Class A misdemeanor, which adds a legislative management study regarding recreational marijuana. Those are the amendments, Mr. President, and I ask the Senate to approve them. Thank you.
Senator Davison.
Mr. President, I have a question for the Speaker for the carrier. So what was the discussion on current law allows for, has the same ingestion and possession have the same penalty, so why in the new bill did we separate out possession and ingestion with different penalties? If I heard right, possession was an infraction and ingestion was a Class B misdemeanor, so why would we separate those 2 out?
There was a concern about when you have the paraphernalia and when you're doing ingestion, there was a different level of involvement. Do you want more explanation?
No, I guess I don't need more explanation. It was odd that you would have 2 separate penalties, 2 different penalties. I mean, if somebody possessed...
Because you're carrying it for somebody else, or it's accidentally in your possession, or you intend to sell it. So by having 2 separate charges, you can stack the charges on top of each other.
As many as are in favor, say aye. Aye. Many as are opposed, say nay. Conference Committee report has been adopted.
House Bill 1050, now with Conference Committee amendments. A bill for an act to amend and reenact Section 12, 19, and 39 of the North Dakota Century Code relating to multiple convictions of the same infraction, the possession and ingestion of marijuana, the possession of drug paraphernalia, and the placement of an individual in a drug and alcohol treatment program by the Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, to provide for a legislative management study, and to provide a penalty.
I explained this bill in detail during the 6th order, and I ask that the Senate vote green.
Senator O'Larson.
Unauthorized, unlicensed, uncertified horticulture business. That's what this is going to be. Reducing the fines. You know, a half an ounce of weed, a $250 fine, that's peanuts. No, there's no repercussion. I find it strange how if I go and fill up with gas and get my road beer to go home, and I get an open container, that's more of a fine and more of an infraction than what I'm getting if I fill up with gas and have my half an ounce of weed. I know that we are trying to stave off the initiated measure or the ballot measure or whatever because they're going to come forward with their ideas. So let's try to appease it and then maybe it'll get defeated. I say we defeat this bill because they already have the ballot measure. It's going to be coming forward. And then if it passes, it can come back to the legislature and we'll fix it like we did with the medical marijuana. So
We don't decriminalize marijuana with the bill in front of us. We do not decriminalize it. It is still, you still have a criminal record if you're picked up with possession of marijuana. It's still an infraction. And the part that I think where we need to get to over time is that this really does have an impact on younger people in their regards to getting a professional license, in regards to getting into the military, in regards to getting a job, in regards to getting housing perhaps. And I think we made good progress on it. I think it's an important bill to pass, and I look forward to further discussion in the 67th legislature.
Senator Dwyer.
Mr. Chairman, or Mr. President, and members of the Senate, just a couple items just to make sure we're clear about infractions. As the senator from District 41 said, we're not decriminalizing marijuana here. We're just moving it to an infraction from 0 to 1,000. And the way the bill is structured, a second offense is also an infraction, but if the court knows, which they would, about the first infraction, they could maybe assess a higher fine up to 1,000, and then the third violation would become a Class B misdemeanor. So it's still an offense. It's still something that would create a record. It's an attempt to present what would be good policy for the state in regard to this issue. So I hope that we give it a green light.
I appreciate the comments that have been made by several of the speakers here today. I just want to reiterate that it is an infraction. It is saying that the use of marijuana is illegal. It is now. So this is putting us more in line with what is the practice and what is happening currently. And hopefully they will take it a little more seriously when they get to that third time that they're standing before a judge.
Well, just for the last time, Mr. President, this is smoking dope and speeding tickets. That's what it is. That's what it equals. I can have hardly anything happen to me. And so let's pass the thing so I can get busy, because that's what this is. That is where this is leading.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, questions on final passage of House Bill 1050. Secretary will open the key. Each senator record their vote. While the senators voted, does any senator wish to change their vote? Secretary will close the key and take the tally. Final tally on House Bill 1050 reveals 31 ayes, 15 nays, 1 absent not voting. Bill is passed. Next bill on the 7th order.